Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Monday, February 10th. We have all you need to know about the hearings in the Subu Vidam case, as well as more on national recognition for a local restaurant.
We also have information on a fatal plane crash in Alaska, along with entertainment, sports, weather, and an interview. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kaitlyn Pfeifer.
And I'm Audrey Keller. Penn State has announced its budget allocations for the 2026 to 2027 fiscal year. The budget includes $40 million in provost subvention funds, with $30 million going to Commonwealth campuses and the other $10 million to University Park. An additional $11 million will be allocated to specialized instruction in the Nice College of Nursing and the College of Arts and Architecture. University Park academic colleges will see an overall 3.6% increase in funding. Further planning will continue through the spring, and the final budget will be presented to the Board of Trustees in July for approval.
Mayor Ezra Naines issued a proclamation recognizing Black History Month at last Monday night's State College Borough Council meeting. The proclamation honors the contributions of African Americans locally and nationally, highlighting this year's theme, African Americans and Labor. Council President Evan Myers warned the Black History Month is being outlawed or whitewashed in some places and criticized the current administration. Naines encouraged residents to continue building a more just and inclusive community, saying diversity should be celebrated, not erased.
A State College man who has been imprisoned for 42 years will have to wait several months for the verdict on a new trial. In a two-day hearing last week, Subu Vidam's lawyers said that key evidence was suppressed when Vidam was convicted of murdering Tomic Kinzer in the 1980s. Measurements of the bullet hole in Kinzer's skull discovered last year might have resulted in a different verdict had they been presented when Vidam's case went to trial. If Vidam is granted a new trial, the Commonwealth would then have to decide whether to appeal, go ahead with the trial, or drop the case.
Center County food lovers have a new reason to visit Bellefonte. Food Network just named the Governor's Pub the most charming small-town restaurant in Pennsylvania. Located on West High Street, the pub earned high praise for its signature dish, fish and chips. The menu features comfort classics like shepherd's pie, crab pretzels, and poutine fries. Prices on the menu range from $11 to $20 per dish. The Governor's Pub remains a local favorite for residents and visitors alike. What can students expect outside this week? Student meteorologist Daniel Weaver is live in the studio with this week's forecast. Daniel?
Thanks, Kaitlyn. I'm surprised you didn't mention that infamous S word, snow. In fact, so far this year, since July 1st is when we start keeping records for the year, we've seen 19 inches of snow, and that is about actually below average compared to where we should be for our snowfall. Speaking of below average, temperatures today were pretty below average, but not by as much as our snowfall was, only about 3 to 4 degrees below average, with highs in the 30s across the Commonwealth. So what can we expect for the next week? We're going to have a repeat of a few storm systems that might bring some snow, followed by some below average temperatures, and then more snow possible for the weekend, though we still are behind in the details. So looking outside in Beaver Stadium, it is pretty dark out there, mostly cloudy though, sitting at a temperature of about 30-ish degrees right now. Actually sitting at a temperature of 27 degrees, and it feels like 16 too, and that's because it is a bit breezy out there. In fact, if we look at those temperatures and feels like across the Commonwealth, we can see that temperatures and feels like are actually about 10 to 9 degrees below the actual temperatures across the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania right now. So for the next 12 hours, we can expect those temperatures to eventually start to decrease and bottom out into the low 20s, with lows expected to be around 20 degrees for tonight. So current satellite radar, again, clear skies across the Commonwealth, no precipitation at all, and that's because we have this relatively high area of pressure sitting right over us. We do have this weak cold front that is moving from the northwest, and there's been a few lake effect-ish scattered snow showers across portions of Buffalo and upstate New York up there. But to time this out, cloud cover will continue to increase as we go throughout the night tonight, and there's our next storm system that might bring us some wintry mess for tomorrow, at least if you're farther south. Here in State College, though, you might just see about maybe a few scattered snow showers, at most according to an inch, but overall not too many travel impacts. Then, as we go into later in the week on Thursday, we're going to see a big wintry mess. It's going to start off as snow Wednesday night, but then it's going to transition to rain overnight on Thursday and into Friday. So here we go. On Wednesday night into Thursday, you can see it starts off as snow and then eventually transitions to rain as we go throughout the day on Thursday. And then before it's out here on Thursday night into Friday, before we're watching another system that will be making its way in on Friday night and into Saturday morning. But this one, you still have a lot of details to fine-tune, especially the track of this next storm system. But we do need that precipitation. The drought monitor was recently upgraded last week, and actually we saw some drought degradation across portions of central Pennsylvania. So it'll be interesting to see what this map looks like on Thursday with some snow and accounting for the precipitation that we saw last week. So for tonight, forecasting a low of 21 degrees, becoming overcast. Again, as clouds start to build in ahead of that system coming in tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, we're expecting a high of 31 degrees, so all precipitation that's going to happen is going to be snow. Don't have to worry about any freezing rain or sleet. And if you're not a fan of the cold, well, I'm sorry, but we're watching the potential for an Arctic blast coming this next week with highs actually in the 20s, which is where our lows are for tonight. And speaking of those highs, you can see that here on that 7-day forecast. A lot of clouds in that 7-day forecast. We can also see quite a few wintry chances on Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday as well. Now, Kaitlyn, back to you.
Thanks, Daniel. Now stick around because after the break, Bronwyn Leiber will have the latest in sports.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Bronwyn Leiber with your sports update. Penn State women's ice hockey opened up their 2-game series Friday night at home as they faced off against Mercyhurst. Night 1 was back and forth and eventually forced into overtime, where Lindy Lobdell found the back of the net for the blue and white to take the 4-3 win. Then on Saturday, both teams had a slower start to the whistle. After some back and forth late into the third, Captain Vanessa Upson secured the win for the Lakers on a breakaway to bring her team the 3-2 victory, ending the Nittany Lions' 17-0 conference record. Going across the street into the Bryce Jordan Center, the Penn State wrestling team held their third BJC duel of the season. It was the number 1 Nittany Lion versus the number 12 Michigan Wolverines. Penn State was quick to the action, getting 6 points on the board from Luke Ledile, pinning Christian Tanefu. The next 7 weight classes were much of the same, being captivated by Penn State's star-studded lineup. At 197, the crowd was put on their feet as number 4 Josh Barr and number 2 Jacob Cardenas entered overtime, where Cardenas led with 3 seconds remaining until Barr pulled a reversal, gaining 2 points to take the bout 3-2. This contributed to Penn State's 39-0 shutout over Michigan. Last night officially wrapped up the NFL season as the Philadelphia Eagles faced off against the back-to-back Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. This took place in New Orleans, Louisiana. The game got off to a very one-sided start as the Eagles went up 24-0 in the first half. This reign continued throughout the second half as the Eagles flew away with victory with a score of 40-22, securing their second Super Bowl win in the last decade. It was also a great birthday celebration for Cooper DeJean, who turned 22 by hauling in a pick six, his first career interception. He also became the first player in the Super Bowl history to score a touchdown or intercept a pass in the game on his birthday. You also had Penn State alum Saquon Barkley, who said, "It's a great way to turn 28. The National Hockey League Players Association and League is ready to begin their 23-player roster selected by the federations. These players will represent Canada, Finland, Sweden, and the United States. These 4 nations will face off in a total of 7 games played from February 12th to the 20th. Beginning this Wednesday, 4 games will be played in Montreal and 3 games, including the championship, in Boston. That's all for your sports update. After the break, Isabel Hulse has the latest in the world of entertainment. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Isabel Hulse with your entertainment update. Aaron Blouse will be teaching a free salsa class at Penn State tomorrow night. The high-energy session will run from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building on the second floor. This exciting class offers an amazing opportunity for students to learn the vibrant and dynamic moves of salsa. The goal is to make these classes accessible to all Penn State students, regardless of their background. Whether you're looking to have fun, meet new people, or simply learn something new, this class is the perfect opportunity. Come join the fun and feel the energy of salsa dancing. Looking for a romantic experience this Valentine's Day? Head to the Azalea Lodge in Mead Gardens tonight for a candlelit concert. This unique music event will have pieces like Moon River and My Heart Will Go On, performed by talented musicians by the glow of candles. With 2 showtimes at 6:30 and 9 p.m., this is the perfect way to celebrate love, romance, and classical music. The concert lasts about 60 minutes with limited seating available. Tickets are selling quickly, so don't miss out on this unforgettable experience. Get your tickets now before it's too late. SZA and Kendrick Lamar took the stage for the Super Bowl halftime show last night. They have worked together on hits like All the Stars and Love Language, and their performance was a perfect mix of Kendrick's rap talent and SZA's singing. This was a highly anticipated performance after Lamar came off a big week with winning 5 awards at the Grammys, including Record of the Year and Song of the Year for his track Not Like Us. This isn't the first time Lamar has performed on one of the biggest televised stages in his career. Lamar previously appeared in his hometown of Los Angeles during the Super Bowl 56 halftime show. It was definitely a night to remember. The Puppy Bowl took place before the big game, and it was a heartwarming event full of adorable dogs competing in a miniature football match. Teams of puppies from rescue shelters competed for the win. Team Fluff took the prize with a close score of 68 to 66. The event also highlighted the work of animal rescue organizations, encouraging viewers to adopt and support pets in need. This year marked the largest group of participating dogs in the event's 21-year history. If you missed it, check it out on animalplanet.com. That's all for your entertainment update. Coming up next, interview anchor Jackson Tortone will be speaking with Ryan Lowy, a study abroad student. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Jackson Tortone, and tonight with me is Ryan Lowy, study abroad student. Thank you so much for coming in tonight, Ryan, and nice to meet you,
Of course,
sir.
my pleasure. Nice to meet you, too.
Yes, so some basic information to start. What is your year and what is your major?
So I'm a sophomore majoring in broadcast journalism and Spanish, and I have a minor in case you're interested in political science.
Very interesting, very nice. So on the Spanish topic, what made you decide to study abroad?
So it was actually really funny. So I was sitting in Spanish class. It was Spanish 3, and I didn't like it. The professor was very nice, but I just wasn't like a fan of Spanish. You know, I was doing it because it was a comm school requirement, and I know everyone here has the same feeling. And then I just saw not an application, but I saw like an advertisement, a meeting about studying abroad over the summer in Mexico. And I was like, you know what? I don't have any summer plans. I'm a freshman. What internship is going to fall in front of me? So I went to the meeting, and the professor was super nice. His name was Daniel Sanguino. He's actually more of a friend than a professor. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it's true. And I instantly bonded with all of my travel abroad mates before we even traveled abroad, applied to the program, and it was, honestly, it was the best 8 weeks of my life.
And so describe this Puebla PSU program that you joined.
Right, so it's 8 weeks. It's a homestay, which is a host family. You arrive Monday through Thursday. You go to Universidad Iberoamericana Puebla, which is a college. It's a small private Catholic school in the city of Puebla, about a mile or two away is where all the host families live. It's a big city. It's almost like University of Pittsburgh, where like the school is just in the middle of the city, but it's got its own little campus. So we'd go to school every day, took 9 credits. It was like a summer semester at another school. And then on weekends, you wouldn't have class on Fridays. You would travel to all these different locations. So we went to the beach of Veracruz. We visited Mexico City. The list just goes on and on and on. We went to all these amazing places. We went to Tabasco. We had all
good hot sauce.
Cholula too, 2 hot sauce locations, which was really awesome. So it was just honestly overall a great experience. We were just constantly traveling on these weekend vacations, learning so much. I was always practicing my Spanish. Pienso que estoy fluido. I think I learned a lot, and I really love it.
Yeah, so how much would you say your Spanish improved by going on this 8-week program?
So I actually wasn't good at Spanish when I first got there. My Spanish was actually, for lack of better term, this isn't very professional, it was garbage. My Spanish was not good. I didn't know how to conjugate. I was really scared. It's nerve-wracking because I was just placed in front of this host family, 75 and 80-year-old, just woman and man, and they were like, yeah, we're your parents for 8 weeks. We're in charge of you. And I was just like, whoa, like I just lived alone for the first time, freshman year. I'm living in this small city home. I'm not used to that. I live in suburbia in New Jersey. And you know, I was just really nervous to even leave my room. And then finally, I just started to bond with the group, and we just became really close friends. A professor, in turn, also became really good friends with us. We started traveling a lot. We got to meet people in the community. I have a lot of good friends from the university now who I still talk to. Shout out Fernando. And it was just honestly just like the best experience of my life. I would 100% do it again. And I just love the language now because of it. And I'm excited to do it again this summer.
Yes, and so would you say the best part of that study abroad program last summer was the connections you made?
My favorite part was probably all the traveling, all the fun we had, and yeah, all the connections. I mean, it's just all of it. I loved all of it except for the weekend where I got really sick. I had a traveler's diarrhea.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. So that weekend was a little bit of, but the rest of it was just awesome.
Yes, so this previous program, did it lead you to want to do a different study abroad program,
Yes.
maybe a couple this upcoming summer?
Yes, it did.
Tell me about those.
Funny you ask. So came back, I spoke to my professor. He's very close friends. The professor who runs the Playboy PSU program loves Mexico, but he's from Spain. And he used to do the Spain program. And he basically said, Ryan, if you loved it and you don't have an internship this summer, which I didn't apply for one because I knew I wanted to do this, but he's like, you should apply and I'll write your letter of rec. It's been a long day for all of us. So he wrote my letter of recommendation. I went in for the meeting. I was really nervous. I forgot to silence my phone, which you all know, you guys are in the TV business. If you don't silence your phone in a meeting, it's over. It wasn't over. I still got in the program, and I'm really excited for this summer. I'm basically doing the same thing, but on the south coast of Spain in Andalusia.
Sounds very nice. Very good weather, I would imagine, right?
Ojalá. I hope so.
So how will these study abroad programs help you in your educational and also your career, aspirations?
Well, I'm in Spanish 297N right now, and the class would be very difficult. It's a lecture hall. The professor speaks English, but why would he speak it? The official language of the class is Spanish. And I don't know if any of you have taken Spanish class here at Penn State, but it seems like no matter how good you are at the language, you're getting a 75. Thankfully, I don't have to worry about that now because in Puebla, I got much stronger at my Spanish. I don't know if I'm fluent, but I've definitely improved enough to the point where I understand pretty much the class 100%. And I don't want to say I don't have to try, but I don't have to study to learn certain things in the class that a lot of other students who didn't do the program like I did.
Well, that's really great to hear. So to close this out, if you could say anything to a younger student who was considering going abroad, what would you say to them if you could just talk to them for a little bit?
I would say to them, just go abroad. If the money is there, the experience is going to follow. It is the best time of your life. I am not taking away from my Penn State experience because I'm going over the summer and not the fall or spring. And I went over the summer when I went to Playboy. Same thing with Spain. I'm going over the summer. So especially if it's a summer program, if you have the opportunity to live with another family and just do something you've never done before, it sounds corny, but try new things. Immerse yourself in the culture. Those were all things I put on my application.
Well, it sounds like a good and productive time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. Yes. Now stick around because coming up next, Audrey and Kaitlyn will have the latest news from across the nation.
In Boston, federal judge Leo Sorokin heard requests from 18 state attorneys general to block Donald Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship for the U.S.-born children of illegal immigrants. The plaintiffs argue that birthright citizenship is enshrined in the Constitution in the 14th Amendment. They also argue that the order would take away from state funding that they rely on to provide essential services. Sorokin spent much of the hearing weighing the potential impacts of the order. Two other federal judges in Maryland and Seattle blocked Trump's order earlier in the week. Another challenge to the executive order goes before a federal judge in New Hampshire today.
The remains of all 10 people killed in an Alaska plane crash have been recovered. Rescuers spent the weekend searching ice-covered seas and frozen tundra in western Alaska for the missing plane carrying 10 people. The single-engine turboprop disappeared Thursday while flying from Anokalit to Nome. Bad weather initially hindered search efforts, but the Alaska Air National Guard and Coast Guard later deployed aircraft and ground crews. This incident marks the third major U.S. aviation mishap in recent weeks.
A New Mexico courtroom devolved into chaos when 3 people rushed the defendant of a homicide case and started a physical fight. The altercation was ended by a law enforcement officer who drew a stun gun and protected the defendant from further attack. Felony charges were filed against 2 men and a woman for battery and assault on a public official. They allegedly rushed the defendant in a fit of rage over the murder of a relative. Court executive officer at New Mexico's 2nd Judicial District, Katina Watson, said they see these things regularly and praised the officer for ensuring safety.
A judge has temporarily blocked Trump from placing over 2,000 U.S. aid employees on leave. The lawsuit challenged Trump's orders and claimed it exceeds executive authority. Judge Carl Nichols reinstated around 500 U.S. agency for international deployment workers who had already been placed on leave. However, critical aid programs, including food and water for millions, have been halted under the fund freezing. Judge Carl Nichols will hear a request for a longer-term pause on Wednesday. The temporary block will remain in place until February 14th at midnight. That concludes our show tonight at PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.